like to look in my mirror and say I like you. Choose how to.
Mike Rowe, host, narrator. I just learned that you're also an opera singer.
Well, that's,
You're a retired opera singer.
right. It's like I played a few rounds of golf, but I wouldn't call me a golfer,
That's true.
Although I did, I sang for 7 seasons in the Baltimore Opera back when I was in my
That's not a
20s.
few rounds of golf. Like that's you were doing it.
I was doing it, but I also had like 2 jobs during the day,
Uh-huh.
I was in the rep company of a legit opera company, but I never really described myself as that. Although I got my union card and I got paid, and I dressed like a Viking and I carried a spear and I
Sounds
sang
pretty
in
legit.
Italian and German, so guilty.
Sounds pretty legit. So, Dirty Jobs is coming back. Premieres January 2nd on Discovery, streaming on Discovery Plus. I didn't realize that this thing started in 2003.
It actually started in 2001
Really?
with a segment called Somebody's Gotta Do It. I was hosting a show called Evening Magazine over in San Francisco for CBS, and developed this weird segment, and we got it on the air somehow against very long odds. The first thing took place in a sewer. I was with a sewer inspector. Then I was artificially inseminating a cow and collecting semen from a bull called Hunsucker Commando. It's crazy, crazy stories, but we got that on the air, and that led to a lot of letters, and some were outraged. Evening Magazine is a sweet little show that comes on after the news, so people in Marin, they're tuning in to see another heartwarming story of a 3-legged dog overcoming canine kidney failure or something. And they get me crawling through a river of crap, making poop jokes. It's not what they were expecting. But the letters that mattered were from people who said, man, you think that's dirty?
Yeah.
You should meet my brother, my cousin, my uncle, my dad, my mom, my sister. Wait till you see what they do. I knew we were onto something.
Did you? Obviously, it was, I think the authenticity to it is what kind of led people to and why they loved it so much. Like, do you think that was true, or why do you think it's sustained for so long?
I think there's a modesty to it, that a lot of other reality shows don't have. Dirty Jobs is a very pure, transparent show. We didn't do any pre-production. We didn't do any casting. We certainly didn't do any writing.
No.
We came in hot,
Yeah.
rolled cameras, and got what we got.
Yeah.
We didn't do second takes, and at the time I thought, well, that would be a normal thing to do. You're calling this reality. Why would you do a second take? That's called a performance, and it'd be very, very difficult to get away with that today. It was difficult back then, but the smartest thing I did, maybe the only smart thing, was to insist on getting a behind-the-scenes camera that never stopped rolling.
Yeah.
So, if a battery dies or a plane flies over or any sort of thing that would normally stop production, I could always turn to that camera and I could tell the viewer, all right, so this is what's going on. This is what's annoying right now. This is what we're dealing with as we're trying to shoot the show.
Yeah.
And it was those little moments that built a level of trust with the viewer that I do think was pretty unusual and gave us permission to stay on the air for a long time.
That was genius. You've always kind of championed, hardworking Americans that take pride in their job. Were you raised that way?
I think so. My folks were school teachers, but everybody on the extended side of either family were either tradesmen or fishermen. So I grew up in that space. I grew up on a little farm in Baltimore County. But most importantly, my neighbor was a guy named Carl Noble, who happened to be my grandfather. And from a very young age, I had a front row seat to that kind of skilled labor. he only went to the 7th grade, but he, I mean, he could take your watch apart and put it together blindfolded, overhaul an engine, fix a combine, build a house without a blueprint, which he did, you know? And so I figured I'd follow in his footsteps, but the handy gene is recessive, right? And I just I didn't get that same toolbox. So it was him. It was Carl
Yeah.
Noble who said, look, you can be a tradesman,
Sure.
just get a different toolbox.
Yeah.
And that's what nudged me into entertainment and what ultimately led to Dirty Jobs decades later.
A lot of friends who are pro baseball players, and they've turned me on to this amazing candy from Japan called Hi-Chew. And it's really a lot more than candy. Hi-Chew has been created in over 200 flavors since it first launched in Japan in 1975, with very specific flavor profiles. Hi-Chew's flavors are unlike anything else. There is no artificial flavor taste at all. It's simple. Hi-Chew makes people happy, and happy people smile more. Hi-Chew isn't a gum or a taffy. However, the chewy texture is different from other candies. And the best part, Hi-Chew contains no colors from synthetic sources and is gluten-free. Single flavored sticks or variety bags are perfect for stocking stuffers this holiday season. So hand out some Christmas smiles with Hi-Chew. MLB players are not the only celebrity fans of Hi-Chew. Also, folks like John Mayer, Kylie Jenner, Macklemore, and Ryan Gosling really enjoy it, just to name a few. We want you to love Hi-Chew as much as we do. Visit hi-chew.com/win. That's hi-chew.com/WIN and enter to win an exclusive bucket full of Hi-Chew candy and swag. While you're there, check out how you can become a member of Hi-Chew Chew Crew, which is an exclusive club where you receive special offers and all the cool things. Go to hi-chew.com/win. What was your first job?
In this business?
No, just first job in general
Oh,
that you remember.
yeah. Well, the first time I got a paycheck for doing anything. I mean, I dug graves,
Sure.
you know, when I was a kid and for cash. But the first time I got a regular paycheck was from United Artists. I was an usher at the first multiplex theater in the country.
Really?
The Golden Ring Mall. Yeah, we had 5 movie theaters, and I stood around like a jackass in a bright red blazer with a white shirt and a black bow tie and black pants, and I tore tickets for $1.70 an hour, and then I got a raise, and I was the cashier, and then I worked concession, and then they taught me how to actually be a projectionist, and started making a little bit more money. But it was, you know, the funny thing is now I went to a theater here in San Francisco, not long ago, and you know, I bought the ticket from a machine,
Yeah.
and there was no usher to tear it. You just swipe it on a code, and I went up to get some popcorn and a Coke, and that was all mechanical. You don't touch anything. Get your own popcorn, get your own thing, swipe your card again. And after the movie, which was garbage, I was talking to the assistant manager, and I said, "Hey, what do you guys pay a projectionist now?" Because back in the day, in like 1979, 1980, I was getting, you know, something like $7, $8 an hour, which was a big jump from my $1.70, right?
Yeah.
And he says, let me show you something. And he walks me around a corner, and he opens up this closet door, and there are like 9 big machines, and he hits an eject button on one of them, and a disc comes out like the size of an old record album. And he's like, "This is the Transformers. This is what a projectionist does today." Puts it in and plays.
Done.
And so, yeah, man, all those jobs, they're gone now, you know, and I wonder sometimes what that would have done to my particular trajectory. You know, when you knock the bottom rungs off of a ladder, it kind of screws up your climb, you know?
For sure. I mean, was working there, that kind of set your trajectory, like, hey, say, I want to get into film, I want to get into the industry, or no?
No, not really. I was just trying to, it was a part-time thing. I was still in high school, you know? And when I got out of high school, I went to a community college, and it was there really that I started focusing on building a better toolbox. You know,
Yeah.
I learned how to sing. I I took some acting classes. I did a lot of plays. A lot of creative writing, and then I got behind a microphone, and the guy who was teaching me was like, "Look, man, you sound way older than you are, and if you really wanted to try and hack the system, I'll help you put together a demo tape, and you can send this around, and you're liable to get hired. You never know, but you're liable to get hired without anybody ever meeting you." And sure enough, National Geographic hired me to narrate some, high above the vast reaches of the barren Serengeti, the wildebeest wanders from the herd, right? If there's a wildebeest getting eaten alive by a hyena, that's me.
Do you like the narrating part or no?
I like it all. What I like most is not having 2 days exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like, I'm spending most of today in conversations like the one we're having. And I enjoy it. I enjoy talking about dirty jobs. I like to promote the things that I'm involved in.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do this tomorrow, man. And
I
I definitely don't want to do it 3 days in a row. So for me, when my chosen field works, when the stars line up, I'll spend Monday narrating Deadliest Catch and how the universe works. Tuesday, I'll write. Wednesday, I'll shoot an episode of Dirty Jobs. Thursday, I'll go over some work ethic scholarship applicants through the foundation. Friday, I'll go on Facebook just to stir some shit up because I can, right? Just to keep the conversation lively. And over the weekend, who knows? So that's when it's fun. When it's not one thing, but a bunch of things.
Bunch of stuff.
And when those things, those seemingly random things, complement each other, that's when you feel smart. Like, look, you guys have been awesome, right? I'm hosting How America Works and Dirty Jobs. And so I post about both of those things, and maybe I'll mention something about the foundation, and then you guys will write about it, and you'll share it, and that'll reach a bunch of people. And we get this kind of a virtuous sort of feedback loop that it's fun and it's good.
It's fun. Yeah.
Time to celebrate the year's in with comfort for your rear end. Jump on final deals on new underwear, loungewear, and pajamas from Tommy John. When you start the year wearing Tommy John, you're that much more comfortable, so you do everything better. Tommy John has thousands of fanatics who, after 13 years and tens of thousands of 5-star reviews, called Tommy John the most comfortable boxer briefs ever. Tommy John's loungewear, luxury soft tri-blend, and micromodal fabrics mean 4-way stretch and no limp balls or fuzz. With over 17 million pairs sold and thousands of 5-star reviews, people love their Tommy Johns. That's why Tommy John doesn't have customers, they have fanatics. Plus, it's all backed by Tommy John's best pair you'll ever wear or its free guarantee. Get 20% off your first order right now at TommyJohn.com/uncut. That's TommyJohn.com/uncut for 20% off. TommyJohn.com/uncut. See site for details.
That's promoting good things. And speaking of your foundation, so Micro Works Foundation, and you kind of champion alternative career paths. And I think that's kind of missing in society now. And I mean, that's a lot of what Dirty Jobs is some of these vocational jobs that people go out there and kind of make the world work that we just take advantage of or take for granted for throughout history.
Yeah, and we forget that we've all got skin in this game. Like it's really easy to have that conversation in terms of, well, you got the employers over here and you got the people over here and you got the skills that are missing. And so that's a problem for the employer and the employees, right? This mismatch of skills. And that's true. But it's also a problem for anybody who shares my addiction to affordable electricity or indoor plumbing. I mean, I waited 3 days when my refrigerator broke last month for somebody to come out here who could fix it. 3 days. I mean, God help you if you've got a busted appliance right now. I mean, it's bad.
It's
and
really
so
bad.
You got 11 million open jobs right now. You got $1.7 trillion in student loans on the books, and we still have politicians telling us the best path for the most people is the most expensive path.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no wonder colleges can charge whatever they want to charge, and it's no wonder after taking shop class out of high school and after turning skilled labor into some sort of a punchline, it's no wonder you've got a whole generation of kids who don't give a damn about those jobs.
Yeah.
And so, dirty jobs can't fix that, but
No.
at least I can at least show you a look at a bunch of jobs maybe you didn't know were out there that are A, important, B, gratifying, and C, lucrative.
Very.
There's probably been 50 people we've featured on Dirty Jobs who are multimillionaires. You just never know it because that's not what the show's about.
Yeah.
And because they don't look successful. They are.
Extremely. I mean, there's extremely successful people out there that didn't go to college, and I mean, you touched on the whole college debt, and colleges just keep raising tuition, raising, because they know these kids are going to go out and get the student loans, and they're going to go to college, and they can just keep the loans are just paying for these schools to build bigger buildings and charge more, and these kids get out of college in 4 years, and they expect to make $200,000, and that's just not where we're at in today's society.
It's not. Look, I get a lot of flack for this because when I talk about it, generally what comes back is like a headline. And the headline is, Mike Rowe slams higher education, right?
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. I'm not meaning to slam education at all. My liberal arts degree served me very well.
Yeah.
And I hope more people get one. I'm just mindful of the fact that in 1984, when I finished, my total tuition for 2 years of community college and a couple years at a university was like $9,800. That same exact experience today for an out-of-state student is $92,000. So, look, is it valuable? Yeah. Is it priceless? Hell no.
No.
We didn't have this, right? Nope. When I went to college, this iPhone thing.
Yeah.
I'm seconds away from 99% of the known information in the world.
Yeah.
I just watched a lecture the other night from a professor at MIT for free. So, like, all that information has been democratized.
Yes.
And we're still charging God knows how much for access to it.
Oh gosh.
It's
I mean,
crazy.
I went to Vanderbilt, and I mean I was done in '05, and it was probably 50,000. Like, I'm scared to know how much it is a year for these kids to go there. And like you said, with the phones now, like my 9-year-old, I promise you, knows more now than I knew whenever I was 15, 16, maybe even 18 years old.
Yeah. No, there's part of what we paid for back in the day was access.
Yes.
I mean, it was important. You don't want to spend your life in a library, and you want to be in a learning environment. Zoom education is a poor substitute for a classroom experience, but there's no getting around the fact that everybody with an internet hookup now at least has access to all the same information.
Yeah.
Why isn't that reflected in the price of tuition? Why didn't we do that? Part of the reason I think is that we've made it such a lopsided proposition. We've literally brainwashed parents and guidance counselors and kids into thinking if they don't get their 4-year degree, they're screwed.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the working assumption. And, pushing back against that is hard. It's complicated. And, again,
how is it done? Like, how do we get out of that trap? Is it possible?
yeah, unfortunately, I think sometimes things have to go splat before people really, really, really wake up, and we're getting there. I don't know exactly what splat looks like in this situation, but part of it has to do with waiting 3 days for a refrigerator repair technician.
Yeah.
Part of it has to do with, after he comes here and fixes my refrigerator, I give him a beer and we sit out on the deck and we talk.
Yeah.
Guy's making $120,000 a year. Now, most people have no idea you can make 6 figures repairing refrigerators.
Yeah. No, not at all.
And most parents don't go, what do I want what do I want for Johnny? You know, maybe he'll fix toasters, right? I mean, it just doesn't. We don't think that way.
Yeah.
So what happens to Johnny instead is that he gets to pursue his dream. He's encouraged to follow his passion. And so he borrows whatever is necessary and he gets his paper and now he's credentialed and he's a hell of a barista, you know, and mom's probably delighted to have him back in the basement. But, you know, he could be fixing toasters.
Yeah.
He could be raising a family. He could be laying pipe. He could have learned a trade. You know, the opportunities that are out there, Travis, man, they're real. They're everywhere.
Absolutely.
And we've just been told they're not.
Look, we all need to pay better attention to what we put in our body, especially if you work out like I do. I'm sure you're familiar with creatine. You know those giant tubs of junk they sell you at the vitamin shop? Well, this holiday season, the best things come in small packages, like creatine that actually works in small doses, and that's Concrete. Concrete is the only microdose creatine, and it's able to provide all the strength and endurance benefits of creatine without any of the negative side effects like bloating or cramps. Creatine is vital for your immune system to fight serious disease, your muscles to gain strength, and even your brain to increase and improve memory and focus. Concrete is a gift of better health, focus, fitness, and immunity this holiday season. It's a perfect stocking stuffer available at Walmart and Walmart.com. Enter to win a free Planet Fitness Gym membership plus Concrete for a year and a $500 Visa gift card. Take better control of your health, body, and mind. Get Concrete into your life today. Register now at concrete.com/podcast. That's CON-CRET.com/podcast. Available now at Walmart and Walmart.com. Concrete is truly changing the fitness and health game. Go to concrete.com/podcast.
Do you think that that's part and due to like social media and like glamorizing lives and thinking, hey, like you can do this, you can do that, and like everyone thinks that. I mean, I think there's a lot of victims out there, and people are like, hey, like it will just come to me, and it doesn't work like that.
No, part of it is we're glamorizing American idols, and we're ignoring American icons, right? But it goes beyond that. It's not just enough to falsely elevate an athlete or a celebrity, right? What we also did was we affirmatively disparaged the iron worker and the plumber. And we didn't do it, because we're mean or stupid, although I suspect we are both to some degree. We did it because we were genuinely trying to promote a college education. And 50 years ago, college needed better PR. We needed more people matriculating with 4-year degrees. We needed more scientists. We needed more doctors. We really did. But what happened was we promoted that path, not just on the basis of its own merits, but at the expense of every other path. So implicit in the bargain was the idea that if you don't go this way, you're going to get stuck doing this. And you see it in the language, right? I mean, higher education. What the hell is that? I mean, you can't have higher education without having lower education. Well, what kind of PR is that? Come over here for the alternative approach. If your son is too stupid, or if your daughter lacks the motivation, maybe they'd be happy doing this, right? And so that's how you get these vocational consolation prize mentalities. And that's why I think, part of the reason anyway, the skills gap gets wider and wider. We've affirmatively disparaged whole forms of education and at the same time disparaged the opportunities they lead to. And, that's why I get a lot of crap for venturing out of my lane sometimes. I'm really not a political animal, but it's hard to talk about education and work and not step on some toes.
Well, I think now, like, it's impossible not to step on anybody's toes. Like, everyone is so sensitive. Like, it's just...
Their toes are so big.
Yeah, it's impossible not to piss somebody off with anything you say. Even even if it's the most common sense, level-headed thing in the world.
Yeah, because we're not just arguing over ideas. We're actually arguing over language.
Yeah.
And when the language gets sucked into it, it's hard to know what to think. Like the point with higher education is one I've been making for years. You can't call this higher without implying that everything else is lower. You can't celebrate essential workers without saying that giant chunks of the workforce are non-essential. Well, that's dumb, right? I mean, you can't tell 40 million people they're not essential to anyone. I mean, you can. We just did. Didn't work out so great, right?
No, not at all.
But we're surrounded by examples, right? We're constantly being asked not to believe what we're looking at. And again, I don't mean to make it political, but you can't tell me the border's secure and show me 10,000 people coming over it. Yeah. And you can't tell me Afghanistan was a success and then show me people dropping from the sky. And you can't tell me there's no bias out there when Merriam-Webster redefines the word anti-vax to mean anybody opposed to mandates.
They did that.
And you can't tell me the protest was mostly peaceful when the building's on fire, right? And so a lot of people, I think, are just going, wait a second, I'm living in a very strange time when words no longer mean what I thought they meant. We just saw it with the infrastructure bill, right? There's room to debate the wisdom of $1.2 trillion in public spending on infrastructure. But it's hard to have that conversation when serious elected officials with a straight face are telling me that infrastructure now includes student debt forgiveness, free daycare, and slave reparations. Now, I'm happy to have that conversation too, but if you tell me I have to have it under the rubric of infrastructure, I'm going to say, wait a minute, man. You It's like the old, like the guy in A Princess Bride, right? Inconceivable. You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
It's a credibility problem, and now Americans they're catching on, and you know it's becoming a problem. It's a real problem.
You know, I made this point on my podcast last month. Somebody asked me about the whole "Let's Go Brandon" thing.
Yeah,
and I said, look, I'm sure a lot of people are saying it because they want to say the other thing.
Sure.
But I think part of the reason that whole little coded thing caught on was because that whole event was really just one more example of people being asked not to believe what their ears were hearing.
Yeah.
Like we could hear the audience clearly chanting F Joe Biden.
Yes.
And here's a reporter telling us, hey, they're saying let's go Brandon. Right? And I think somewhere collectively people are like, no, that's not what I heard. But if that's what you're going to tell me, fine. Then that's what let's go Brandon means.
Yeah, we'll do that.
So, yeah, man, everybody's toes are getting stepped on.
Yeah.
Because even the word toes probably doesn't mean those things attached to my feet anymore. It probably means something else.
And I've read a lot about you the last couple of days, and everyone tries to pigeonhole you in a certain political party, and I mean I think you do a great job of navigating that. And you make a ton of sense with a lot of things you say. But like we're so divided right now, it seems. Like, how do we find a middle ground? Like, do you think it just has to run its course, or is it even possible?
Like I said, there's going to be a splat.
Sure.
Was the splat in Wisconsin? Was it in Ferguson? Was it in Baltimore? It doesn't seem like it because that was behind us. Something is going to have to galvanize us and bring us back together. And I know this is not exactly a new idea, but I mean, I remembered the days and weeks and months after 9/11. I remember Congress arm in arm singing God Bless America. Certainly nobody wants a catastrophe, but catastrophes have a way of bringing us together. A nice alien sighting might go a long way.
Like a meteor just landing somewhere in the ocean, and like no one's hurt, but hey, we come back together.
That's right. Like there was I remember at the beginning of the lockdowns, I was I said somewhat stupidly, I was one of the people who came out, I think it was around the whole Deadliest Catch Zoom TV. I said, you know what? For the first time in my life anyway, it does appear that we're all in the same boat, because we were all hunkered down.
Yeah.
And we were all
Yeah.
Well, no, dude. We're not in the same boat.
No.
We're in different boats. We're all in the same storm.
Sure.
But, that guy's in a yacht, and that guy's in a dinghy, and that guy's just holding on to a piece of wood,
Yep.
and that guy's in a rowboat, and right. So we've never been in the same boat.
No.
But the sense of coming together by being in the same storm, I think, could be part of the thing that helps get us through whatever this is. But I'm afraid it's going to get a little sportier before it gets
better. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right. I mean, I think we still have a little dip to go before we kind of come together and figure this one out. But I do think there's a lot of really good people out there that are trying and trying to come together. At least I hope anyway.
You know what else is puzzling? It's back to the words, because I think most disagreements over ideas start with confusions around the language, and I'm amazed at what both sides have given up, right? Like why would the right allow the left to own terms like empathy and kindness? Why just give up and abdicate that? And likewise, why would the left allow work ethic to become a dog whistle or personal responsibility or delayed gratification, right? Why do companies like Korn Ferry and Lockheed Martin have lists of problematic words that are, at least used to be, universally empowering?
Yeah.
Like, why would you want to give up the importance of an individual having some personal responsibility? But the left has. They've said, no. When people talk about that, that's just code for you're lazy, right? And likewise on the right, that's the thing about the skills gap that's really the most interesting to me. 11 million open positions forces people to say, well, what does that actually say about the country? And my buddies on the left would say, well, it says that all employers are greedy and rapacious capitalists who don't offer a fair wage. And my buddies on the right would say, well, that means that all employees are lazy and shiftless and would just as soon sit on their ass than pick up a shovel.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, there's truth in both, but you're painting with an awfully broad brush.
We've lost this middle ground.
Yeah. Well, look at this. This is a curriculum my foundation put together, right? It is a work ethic scholarship curriculum. Look at that thing. It's probably 2 inches thick.
Oh, yeah.
It takes all the precepts in my foundation. It's basically the sweat pledge brought to life. This thing is pissing people off from sea to shining sea. And it's in 30 trade schools right now. If I have my way, we'll get it into high schools. Yeah. And it's not an attempt. I mean, there's not one political idea in there.
Yeah.
What's in there is the notion that an individual can dramatically improve his or her odds of success by getting outside their comfort zone, following opportunity instead of passion, getting up early, staying late, and taking a bite of the crap sandwich when it comes around from time to time.
Because it's
paying
coming.
your dues,
Yeah, it happens to everybody. It's coming around at some point.
But to talk about that, like we're talking right now, that firmly in the minds of a lot of people puts me way to the right of center.
Yeah,
but
you're disrupting the system.
But none of those notions, man, none of that has historically been remotely political.
No.
But they are now.
They are now. Everything's political now.
Are you RSVPing yes this holiday? Express has you covered with outfits for every single invite. Express is that perfect mix of confidence-boosting styles and comfort for every occasion this holiday season. Check out their suits available in plaid, flannel, luxe comfort fabrics, and more. Perfect for everything from swanky holiday parties to festive weddings. Or maybe you need a winter jacket. Express has a killer line of flannel jackets, sharp blazers, handsome bombers, and more. And those flannel jackets are so warm and the perfect layer for all my holiday fits. And of course, you can match any style with jeans, dress pants, or chinos. The Express Flex X jeans are the most flexible denim yet, with a comfort stretch waist. So what are you waiting for? RSVP yes this holiday. Unwrap festive new styles, holiday deals, and more at express.com or in stores.
January 2nd, Dirty Jobs is back.
Yep.
Did you enjoy filming it again?
Yes. Yes is the short answer. There's a much more complicated answer, but the bottom line is it was, that shows the best thing I've ever done. Mm-hmm. It's still the most personal thing I've ever done. Yeah. And now it's the most relevant thing that I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And so for all those reasons, it was a delight. On the flip side of the coin, I'm older than I've ever been. Everything hurts. Hyperextended elbow, sprained wrist, third-degree burn, left leg. There's just no getting out easily on Dirty Jobs. There's no cheating.
Well, I'm sure when you guys kicked it back off, it was like, hey, we've got to find dirtier and harder and go a little bit farther than we have before, or no?
No. I mean, yes. The instinct on the network side to do that is irresistible.
Absolutely.
Likewise on the production side. Mm-hmm. But I was super clear saying, look, guys, we are never going to out-dirty season 2, where I collected the sperm from every barnyard animal there is. Okay? You're never going to outgross season 1, where we literally dove into feces from every species, right? You're never going to outdanger season 3, when we worked at the top of a 3,000-foot radio tower and at the very, 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 very bottom of an opal mine. Yeah. You're just not going to out extreme it. What you can do, though, is use the show to just go back into the world and show the viewer an honest look at a day of genuine work through the eyes of an apprentice.
Which people need to see that.
I think so.
Yeah.
And it's still lighthearted. It's still fun. I still get the pie in the face. Yep. But mostly I get a chance to tap the country on the shoulder again and say, hey, man, what about her? What about him? That's the gig in a nutshell.
Yeah. I mean, and it's amazing, and I love it. And I mean, that's why people tune in to see it, because you do that and you do it so well.
Thanks.
I appreciate it. January 2nd, again, Discovery Plus. Can't wait to see it. Mike, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Anytime, man. I appreciate it, too. Keep up the good work.
All right. Thank you.